Long before the first coins were ever struck, gold held a special place in the Indian subcontinent. This shining metal was not just a material, it was a symbol of purity, wealth, and divine power. People in ancient societies, like those of the Indus Valley civilization, cherished gold for its beauty and rarity. They did not use it as money in the way we understand today. Instead, they crafted it into beautiful ornaments. These items, such as beads, necklaces, and bangles, were worn by the elite. They showed a person's high status in society. Gold was also connected to religious ideas, seen as a pure substance fit for the gods, and for important rituals that connected the human world to the divine. The value of gold came from its unique properties. It does not rust or tarnish, so it always keeps its brilliant shine. This permanence made people believe it was eternal and sacred. In a world where many things decayed, gold remained unchanged, representing immortality and unchanging truth. It was sourced from riverbeds and mines, a difficult and laborious process that made it even more precious. Finding gold was like finding a piece of the sun on earth. This inherent value meant that owning gold was a direct display of power and influence. A ruler or a wealthy family could show their importance simply by the amount of gold jewelry they possessed, making it a key part of social and political life. In these early times, gold was primarily used for adornment and as a store of wealth. Families would pass down golden heirlooms from one generation to the next. These objects were not just valuable possessions, they were part of the family's identity and history. They were given as special gifts during weddings and other important ceremonies, strengthening social bonds between families. This practice of gifting gold is very ancient and continues in India even today. It shows how deeply the cultural meaning of gold is rooted in the subcontinent's history. The metal was a way to secure wealth for the future, and to celebrate life's most significant moments with something beautiful and lasting. The use of gold for religious purposes was also extremely important. It was believed that the gods themselves were associated with gold. Statues of deities were sometimes decorated with gold, and temples were offered golden objects as a sign of devotion. The metal's purity made it the perfect material for offerings meant to please the divine powers. This connection between gold and spirituality meant that it was more than just a commodity. It was a sacred metal that carried deep meaning for the people. Its role was not in daily transactions, but in the most important aspects of life: social status, family legacy, and religious faith, setting the stage for its later role as a symbol of ultimate value in coinage. The earliest written sources from the Indian subcontinent, such as the Vedas, speak frequently of gold. These ancient Sanskrit texts, composed between 1500 and 500 BCE, are filled with references to a metal they called hiranya. This word, meaning gold, appears in hymns and prayers, often associated with the gods, light, and immortality. The texts describe gold as being born of fire, linking it to Agni, the god of fire. It was considered a symbol of the sun and life itself. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest texts, mentions golden chariots for the gods and golden treasures given as gifts to priests, showing its high value in ritual and social exchange among the elite. These texts tell us that gold was not just a material, but a concept representing purity and divine essence. It was used in important ceremonies like the yajnas, or sacrificial rituals, to ensure their success and to please the gods. The priests, or Brahmins, who performed these rituals were often rewarded with gold. This act, known as dakshina, was considered essential for the completion of the ceremony. The text describes specific quantities of gold dust or ornaments being given, highlighting its role as a high-value gift. This shows that even before formal coins existed, gold was already a recognized standard of significant wealth and a medium for important, large-scale transactions. The Upanishads, which are philosophical texts that followed the Vedas, continued to use gold as a metaphor for ultimate reality and truth. The eternal, unchanging nature of gold was compared to the soul or the ultimate principle of the universe, Brahman. This philosophical importance added another layer to gold's significance. It was not just for kings and priests. It was a symbol for thinkers and seekers of wisdom. This deep cultural and religious embedding ensured that gold would be seen as the most trustworthy and valuable substance. Its meaning went far beyond its physical appearance, touching upon the very core of ancient Indian thought and spirituality. Later texts, like the great epics of the Ramayana and Mahabharata, are filled with descriptions of immense golden wealth. They speak of cities with golden walls, palaces filled with golden furniture, and kings who donate vast quantities of gold. For example, the city of Lanka in the Ramayana is described as a place of fabulous wealth, made of gold. While these descriptions are epic poetry and likely exaggerated, they reflect the cultural ideal of gold as the ultimate measure of prosperity and power. They show what ancient Indian society imagined as the pinnacle of richness, and that imagination was always painted in glittering gold, solidifying its place in the collective consciousness. Before the invention of coins, trade and exchange happened through a system of barter. People would trade goods and services directly for other goods and services. However, this system had its limits. For larger or more important transactions, a more standardized form of value was needed. Gold, because of its rarity and desirability, became one of these standards. It was not used for buying everyday items like bread or milk. Instead, it was reserved for high-value exchanges, such as buying land, paying for military services, or making significant offerings to temples. It served as a store of wealth that could be used when a large payment was necessary. To use gold in trade, it had to be measured accurately. People did not carry around gold coins of a set value. Instead, they used gold dust, nuggets, or simple pieces of bullion. The value of the gold was determined by its weight. A standardized system of weights, based on natural seeds, was developed. The most common unit was the rati, which was the weight of a single gunja seed, or Abrus precatorius. This seed was chosen because of its remarkably consistent weight. A larger unit, the mashaka, was also used. When a transaction was made, the gold would be carefully weighed on a balance scale against these seeds or other standardized weights. This system required trust. The person accepting the gold had to be sure of two things: the weight and the purity of the metal. Determining purity was a challenge. Skilled artisans, known as goldsmiths, would test the gold, often by rubbing it on a touchstone and examining the color of the streak it left. This process, while effective, was not perfect and could be slow. The lack of a standardized government-guaranteed form of gold made large-scale commerce complicated. Every major transaction required a process of weighing and testing, which added time and uncertainty to the exchange. This created a demand for a more efficient system. The use of these measured pieces of gold, often called bullion, was a step towards coinage. Some wealthy merchants or guilds may have started marking their gold pieces with a simple punch or symbol. This mark could have served as a private guarantee of the weight or purity of the metal. It told others that this specific piece of gold had already been tested and approved by a reputable source. This practice of punching symbols onto metal was a crucial precursor to the idea of a coin. It was the beginning of the transition from using raw metal as money to using a piece of metal whose value was guaranteed by a recognized authority. The idea of coinage in India is believed to have emerged around the 6th century BCE. This was a period of great change, with the rise of large kingdoms and cities, known as the Mahajanapadas. Trade was growing rapidly, and the old system of barter and weighing bullion was becoming too slow and inefficient for the increasing number of transactions. A more convenient form of money was needed. The first coins to appear were not made of gold, but of silver. These early coins are known as punch-marked coins. They were not round and perfectly shaped like modern coins. Instead, they were irregularly shaped pieces of silver. These punch-marked coins were revolutionary. Their value was not just based on the weight of the silver. It was guaranteed by the authority that issued them. Each coin was stamped with several symbols, or punches. These symbols could include geometric patterns, animals, plants, or solar signs. It is believed that these marks were applied by different authorities, perhaps representing the king, the treasury, or even local merchant guilds. This system of multiple marks likely served as a way to check and recheck the coin's quality as it moved through different regions. The state's guarantee meant that people no longer had to weigh and test the metal for every transaction. The introduction of these coins transformed the economy. Trade became much faster and easier. A merchant could now carry a bag of coins with a known value rather than heavy bars of metal that needed constant verification. This spurred the growth of markets and made long-distance trade more practical. It also allowed rulers to collect taxes more efficiently. Instead of collecting taxes in the form of grain or other goods, they could demand payment in coins. This gave the state a more flexible and powerful way to manage its finances, pay soldiers, and fund large construction projects. While silver punch-marked coins became widespread, the earliest coinage did not typically include gold. Gold remained a high-value metal used for storing wealth and for very large, significant payments, often still in the form of bullion or jewelry. The everyday economy ran on silver and copper coins. The concept of a standardized, state-guaranteed gold coin had not yet fully developed in this initial phase of Indian coinage. The stage was set, however. The invention of punch-marked silver coins had introduced the fundamental idea of coinage, a piece of metal whose value was certified by a powerful authority, a concept that would soon be applied to gold. The first significant issues of gold coins in India did not come from a native Indian dynasty. They were introduced by the Kushans, a powerful empire that ruled over northern India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and parts of Central Asia from the 1st to the 3rd centuries CE. The Kushans were strategically positioned along the Silk Road, which was, a major network of trade routes connecting the Roman Empire in the west with Han China in the east. This trade was incredibly lucrative, and a vast amount of wealth, including Roman gold coins, flowed into the Kushan territories. This influx of gold provided the material and, honestly, the inspiration for their own gold coinage. The Kushan gold coins were magnificent and of a very high standard. They were modeled on the Roman gold coin, the aureus, and had a similar weight and purity. This was a deliberate choice. By creating coins that were compatible with the international currency of the time, the Kushans made trade along the Silk Road much smoother. A merchant from Rome could easily understand the value of a Kushan gold coin. The most famous Kushan ruler, Kanishka I, issued a large number of these coins. They were a powerful symbol of the Kushan Empire's wealth and its important role in global commerce. The features of these early gold coins were very different from the earlier punch-marked silver coins. Kushan coins were die-struck, meaning they were produced by placing a blank piece of metal between two engraved dies and striking it with a hammer. This created a much more detailed and uniform design. One side of the coin typically featured a portrait of the Kushan king, often shown sacrificing at a fire altar. The other side, the reverse, depicted a wide variety of deities. These included gods and goddesses from Greek, Iranian, and Indian traditions, reflecting the diverse cultural world of the Kushan Empire. The use of these gold coins marked a new chapter in the Indian economy. While silver and copper coins continued to be used for daily transactions, the gold coin became the standard for large-scale international trade and for hoarding imperial wealth. They were a powerful tool of propaganda. The image of the king on the coin spread his fame and authority across the vast empire and beyond. The coins were also a sign of immense economic prosperity. The ability of an empire to mint a large quantity of high-purity gold coins was a clear statement of its power and stability to the rest of the world. During the Mauryan Empire, which flourished from approximately 322 to 185 BCE, the state exercised strong control over the economy, including precious metals. This period actually predates the main era of Indian gold coinage, but it's really crucial for understanding how the state managed wealth. The primary source of information about this is the Arthashastra, an ancient treatise on statecraft attributed to Kautilya, who was the chief minister of the first Mauryan emperor, Chandragupta. This text provides detailed instructions on how a state should manage its resources, including its mines and metals. It shows a highly organized and centralized system for controlling the kingdom's wealth. According to the Arthashastra, the state had a monopoly over mines. A superintendent of mines was appointed to oversee the prospecting of new mineral sources and the operation of existing ones. This included mines for gold, silver, copper, and other valuable metals. The text even describes methods for identifying ore and for purifying metals. All the gold and silver extracted from these mines belonged to the state treasury. This gave the Mauryan government direct control over the supply of precious metals in the empire. It was a way to ensure that the state, and not private individuals, held the bulk of the nation's most concentrated form of wealth. The Arthashastra also describes the role of a state goldsmith and a superintendent of the mint. The mint, known as the Lakshanadhyaksha, was responsible for producing coins. During the Mauryan period, these were primarily the silver punch-marked coins, called panas, and copper coins. While there is little evidence of the Mauryans issuing their own gold coins for circulation, the text does mention gold. It details how the state goldsmith would handle gold for the public, making jewelry and other items. The state regulated these services to prevent fraud, specifying punishments for debasing the metal or for theft. This shows a system where the state was the ultimate authority on the purity and handling of gold. This tight state control over precious metals had significant implications for the economy and for power. By controlling the mines and the mint, the Mauryan state could manage the money supply and fund its vast army and bureaucracy. The treasury, filled with gold and silver, was the foundation of the emperor's power. While gold was not used as a common currency, it was the ultimate store of state wealth. The gold collected through mining and taxes was kept in the royal treasury as bullion and objects. This centralized control established a precedent for future Indian empires, where the right to mint coins, especially gold coins, was a clear sign of sovereignty and imperial authority. The Kushan period truly represents a golden age for gold coinage in ancient India. Following their initial introduction of gold coins modeled on Roman standards, the Kushan rulers continued to refine and expand their minting operations. The quality and artistic merit of their coins were exceptional, serving as a benchmark for centuries to come. The coins were not just economic tools, they were miniature works of art that broadcasted the power and cultural identity of the empire. The consistency in weight and high purity of the gold used in these coins helped build immense trust in the currency, facilitating trade across vast distances from Central Asia to the heart of India. The iconography on Kushan gold coins is a fascinating window into their world. The obverse, or front side, almost always showed the reigning king. He might be depicted standing, seated on a throne, or even riding an elephant. These portraits were not just generic representations. They were attempts at realistic depictions of the ruler, complete with titles written in the Greek alphabet and the Brahmi script. This projection of royal power was direct and unambiguous. Every person who held a coin was holding an image of the emperor, a constant reminder of who was in charge. This was a sophisticated form of political communication that reached every corner of the realm. The reverse side of the coins is even more remarkable for its diversity. The Kushans ruled a multi-ethnic and multi-religious empire, and their coins reflected this. They featured a pantheon of deities drawn from different cultures. You can find Greek gods like Helios, Iranian deities like Mithra and Ardoksho, and Indian gods like Shiva, shown as Oesho and Buddha. This was not just a random collection of images. It was a deliberate political strategy to appeal to the various groups of people living within their empire. By honoring the gods of their subjects on their most valuable currency, the Kushan kings showed respect for their beliefs and sought to unify their diverse populations under their rule. The economic impact of this stable and abundant gold currency was profound. It fueled the Silk Road trade, allowing Kushan merchants to trade for Roman luxury goods, Chinese silk, and Indian spices. The wealth generated from this trade flowed back into the empire, funding grand construction projects and supporting a vibrant urban culture. The Kushan gold dinaras, as they were called, became a highly sought-after currency, and their influence lasted long after the empire itself declined. Later dynasties, such as the Guptas, were heavily inspired by Kushan coinage, adopting their weight standards and artistic conventions, demonstrating the enduring legacy of this golden age. After the decline of the Kushans, the tradition of minting gold coins was carried on with great vigor by the Gupta Empire, which is often considered the classical age of India. The Gupta rulers, beginning with Chandragupta I, issued a stunning variety of gold coins known as dinaras. These coins are renowned for their artistic excellence and the purity of their gold. the Guptas moved away from the more static Kushan portraits and depicted their kings in more dynamic and heroic poses. For instance, the coins of Samudragupta show him as a warrior with a bow, a musician playing a lyre, or performing a horse sacrifice, all celebrating his military prowess and cultural accomplishments. The Gupta coins were not just beautiful, they were also complex pieces of propaganda. The imagery and inscriptions in Sanskrit glorified the king and the dynasty. The reverse side of the coins often featured the goddess Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth and prosperity, seated on a lotus. This powerful symbolism connected the king's rule directly with divine favor and economic well-being for the kingdom. The message was clear. The Gupta king brings prosperity, and his reign is blessed by the gods. These coins served as a royal proclamation of power and legitimacy, circulated throughout their vast empire and beyond. In South India, the tradition of gold coinage also flourished, though it developed along different lines. Great dynasties like the Cholas, the Chalukyas, and the rulers of the Vijayanagara Empire all issued their own gold coins. These southern coins were often smaller and featured different kinds of imagery. Instead of portraits of kings, they frequently used dynastic emblems, such as the tiger of the Cholas or the boar of the Chalukyas. They also featured various deities from the Hindu pantheon. The Vijayanagara Empire, in particular, produced a large quantity of gold coins, known as pagodas, which became a standard currency for trade across the Indian Ocean for centuries. This long and continuous tradition of gold coinage, stretching from the Kushans through the Guptas and into the medieval southern kingdoms, highlights the metal's central role in the political and economic life of the subcontinent. The right to issue gold coins was the ultimate symbol of sovereignty. When a new king came to power or conquered a new territory, one of the first things he would do was strike coins in his own name. This act declared his independence and authority. The coins were the tangible evidence of his power, a legacy in metal that would often outlast the empire itself, telling its story to future generations. The history of gold coins in India is more than just a story about money. It is a story about power, art, and culture. From its earliest use as a sacred metal for ornaments to its development into a standardized currency, gold has been a constant thread in the fabric of Indian history. The journey from unstamped bullion weighed against seeds to beautifully crafted die-struck coins represents a major evolution in economic and political organization. The introduction of coinage, first with silver and then with gold, was a catalyst for change. It streamlined trade, centralized state power, and helped build some of the greatest empires the world has ever known. Gold coins served as the business cards of ancient and medieval empires. The Kushans used them to announce their arrival on the world stage, creating a currency that could stand alongside that of Rome. The Guptas used their exquisite coins to project an image of a heroic and divinely blessed monarchy, ushering in a classical age of art and culture. In the South, dynasties used their unique gold coins to stamp their identity on the bustling maritime trade routes of the Indian Ocean. In every era, the ability to mint high-quality gold coins was the clearest sign of an empire's wealth, stability, and control. They were a projection of power that everyone could hold in their hand. The importance of gold coins also lies in what they tell us as historical documents. Because they were made of a durable metal and were often buried for safekeeping, coins have survived for centuries, providing historians with invaluable information. The portraits of kings give us a glimpse of what these rulers looked like. The inscriptions tell us their names, titles, and the languages they used. The deities on the reverse side reveal the religious beliefs of the time. The locations where coins are found help us map the extent of ancient empires and their trade networks. These small metal discs are a direct physical link to the past. Ultimately, the long saga of gold coins has left a deep and lasting mark on Indian culture. The historical association of gold with purity, divinity, and royal power has never faded. It explains why gold is still so highly valued in India today, not just as an investment, but as a crucial part of religious ceremonies, weddings, and family traditions. The glittering legacy of the Kushan dinaras and Gupta dinaras lives on in the cultural consciousness. The story of gold coins is the story of India's own journey through time, a tale of flourishing trade, powerful empires, and an enduring belief in the sacred and timeless value of this radiant